scared the hell out of me.
It's the witching hour. 12. Let's get out of this disgusting slime pit full of all these moldy, aging, rotten books. What do you say we wrap it up, go back home, and get thoroughly soused?
All right.
We're acting like a couple of dumb 1Ls studying through the night.
Can you... Yeah, would you put those two? Pencils. Hi, Artie. Thank you. Hey, you're right. This is the witching hour. I'm having a hallucination.
Huh?
The guy in the center. It's William Patterson, Attorney General of the United States. He went to school here. Hi.
What's he doing here? This late?
Can I help you, fellas?
No, thanks.
Say, are we going to let that guy intimidate us? I mean, this is our law school.
Then go back there and follow him.
I'm intimidated.
What do you suppose the Attorney General is doing here anyway?
No.
Come in.
Ah, good evening, Bill.
Hello,
Welcome.
Charles. 12 o'clock. Why do we always wind up working late?
It's one of the natural laws of our profession. I'm sitting here at this ungodly hour. It's because I've been asked to file an amicus curiae brief for the Second Circuit. And as usual, it's due in the morning. Sit, gentlemen. Sit.
Sorry. This is my legal aid, Greg Noyes, and Sam Royce, who provides security.
The Attorney General of the United States must always be secure. I take it if you've interrupted your very busy schedule at such short notice, it's because you have something important to discuss. Am I being called upon once again to render legal services without a fee?
Reynolds is retiring from the Supreme Court.
Why? He's only 75.
He's not well. Charles, you know the process. The president is considering several people. But I think with a little pressure from me that the nomination could be yours. Can I tell the president that you would be willing to have your name placed in nomination for appointment to the Supreme Court?
There are my ties to the school. There is the small matter of my prior experience, when, for reasons which you know very well, I withdrew my name from nomination. And there is my age.
Your age? Oh, hell. You live forever.
Not quite forever. I assure you, Bill, I will give the matter serious consideration.
Zeiss, you finished the site check on the tort liability article. Well, hustle it, Zeiss. We got a deadline on that. Hart, you finished proofing the Zimmerman piece?
Yeah, it's right here.
Good boy. Simon time. Peters, I want you to research the corporate responsibility of directors. See if there are enough new court decisions to warrant a full article. Now, we're going to run a bibliography on Kingsfield. It means researching everything he's written over the years, writing a description of each piece, including every brief he's filed. We did one about 10 years ago, but he's published a lot since then.
I'll do it.
Hart, Golden's the president. He makes the decisions. I'd like a crack at the piece.
None of the questions, Zeiss. Look, if it's about Kingsfield, I like...
You don't have that kind of experience.
Hey, down, boys! Hart, I am not sure you have the experience for a major bibliography of a significant legal scholar's work.
And how do I get the experience unless I get a chance?
I'll think about it. Zeiss, trot over... Let's go, move! Zeiss, trot over to the library and see if you could find the September 1965 issue of the Yale Law Review. I need it quick, Zeiss. Hart, I said I'll think about letting you do the bib. Don't bug me.
Okay, Golden. Golden, listen, do you have any idea who was wandering around here at midnight last night? The Attorney General of the United States.
I'm not surprised. I was wondering when he was going to show up.
Wait a minute, you're not surprised?
Listen, Reynolds is retiring from the Supreme Court. The Attorney General was Kingsfield's student. He worshipped him. And they've done a lot of stuff together. The Willard decision. They filed an amicus brief together in the Jensen case. Look, Patterson is here to see whether Kingsfield would be willing to have his name placed in the nomination for the court. Obviously, the president isn't going to nominate Kingsfield if the next day Kingsfield is going to get on the tube and decline the invitation.
Kingsfield on the Supreme Court. Wait a minute, Golden. How do you know this stuff? I mean, how do you know Reynolds is retiring from the court?
Why do you think I am president of the Review Heart, and you are just another flunky around here? Now get moving, find something useful to do. We have an issue to get out. Peters! Thank you.
Thanks, Danny. Thanks. You know what it would mean, Kingsfield on the Supreme Court? He'd probably choose Golden to clerk for him. It's one of the most prestigious jobs a law student can get after graduation. It would automatically mean Golden would be considered one of the top lawyers in this country.
Yeah? And think about what it would mean for you.
What?
Well, upon your graduation, you would probably be chosen as one of Justice Kingfield's law clerks. You got an A in his course. You're on the law review. Think about that. Hey, Hart. When you're, climbing those big marble steps, and you're passing notes to Justice Kingsfield with the best lawyers in the country arguing the most important cases.
Yeah.
Will you still find me erotically attractive?
Do they have a basketball court in the Supreme Court building? I wonder how Kingsfield would treat his clerks. You think we just do research? Or do you think he'd actually let us do part of the drafting of some of those opinions?
Snap you out of your dreams, Hart, but it's closing time.
Let's go back to my place. I want to keep talking.
If we keep talking, we'll wake up your roommate.
We'll talk very quietly.
I don't think he likes me.
Yeah, but I'm crazy about you.
Good morning.
Morning.
I slept like a baby.
Did you?
Although I don't think babies have dreams like the one I had last night. I dreamt about that 1L I have a date with tonight. Sandra... What the hell was her last name?
Person Pisserini.
That's close enough. Anybody who looks like that doesn't need a last name. Listen, about tonight, I think we ought to work out a system.
System?
So you don't come barging in at an inopportune moment.
Ah.
Now,
Yes.
if everything is going well, and I fully anticipate that it will, I will leave my tie on that doorknob out there. Now, if you see that tie, that means that you are not, under any circumstances, to enter.
And are you going to tell her that you're using the doorknob as a tie rack?
Trust me, James. You went to public school. This is an old prep school ploy.
Ah.
Well, I certainly hope Connie doesn't plan on singing all 6 of those Brandenburgs. There are others out here who'd like to take a shower, too.
Ford.
I apologize. While I have been making plans, you've been executing them. Congratulations. Maybe I should have gone to public school after all. Charles Kingsfield being considered for the Supreme Court seat soon to be vacated by Justice Miller P. Reynolds. You know about this?
I was going to tell you.
Listen to this. Inside sources indicate that Kingsfield is the personal choice of the Attorney General of the United States. Kingsfield declined comment. Born in... Whoa, James, look at this. In contrast, Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes was only 61 when appointed to the course.
Morning, Ford.
Hiya.
Stuff about Kingsfield's in the newspapers.
What? He was nominated? Did he accept?
No, just that he's a strong contender. There's some stuff in here about a couple of other guys who are possible nominees.
Oh, well, then he'll probably take himself out of the running. I mean, it's just too much fun teaching 1L, right?
Hey, Kingsfield turns 80 next week. We ought to do something.
He just might take himself out of the running. Beginning to serve as the Justice of the Supreme Court at that age.
Oh, Justice Kingsfield.
But Connie, am I to assume that you are going to be staying here now on a semi-regular basis?
Shut up, Ford.
Well, I was only asking, because if that is to be the case, I think we should work out some kind of system, don't you? For instance, owners shower first, guests second.
Look, if I'm imposing...
You are not imposing.
No, Ford. Really? Sorry. Sorry I drank your coffee. Sorry that I read your newspaper. The only reason I let myself use that little piece of soap in there was because it didn't have your name on it. Gosh, guys, I'd love to stay for breakfast, but I've got class.
See you soon, Constance. Trust you find our accommodations more pleasant than the dorms.
Dorms are just fine.
Take it to the dean.
We'll take it to the machine.
Hey, you
Hey, knock it off, you animals. That's law school property. Knock it off. Savages.
One person. Not of this great machine here.
Hi, Bill.
Well, if I ever remember when else were this crazy, I never would have taken this job as dorm advisor.
Bill, from my own recent experience, I can tell you the 2 L's aren't any better.
I see that, as usual, nothing remains secret in Washington for long.
But as usual, the reporters are playing catch-up. Still a step behind. The president has narrowed his choices down to 3.
Who are?
Judge Wiley and Stephen Tillingham. And you.
Wiley's a good man. He's not a genius, but he's adequate.
Tillingham has personally raised $5 million for the president's campaign.
A man of considerable initiative.
But is he a great lawyer? For God's sakes. It's time we left politics completely out of court selection. Charles, what I would like to see is a return to the days of Holmes, when the great justices were scholars. I remember on the Law Review, you suggested that I read the Holmes-Pollock letters.
You've always had a fondness for reminiscing, haven't you, Bill?
Charles, I need a decision from you. If the president nominates you, will you accept? I have my forces all lined up. Ashheim and his boys at the Bar Association are ready to apply the pressure. My Washington friends are ready to lobby the hell out of it, but nothing can go on till you make up your mind. Are you in the running?
Here you are, Bill. Wanting to go back to the days when politics played no part in the Supreme Court. And at the same time, you're mobilizing all the political power you can muster. Well, the media seem to be having a lot of fun with my age. I'm known as the octogenarian. You'd think they'd have the decency to wait until my birthday, next Wednesday. Until then, I should be known as the septuagenarian.
Oh, hell. Holmes served on the court till he was 90. Charles, do you need more time to make up your mind? Maybe I can hold everything up for a week or two.
No, I've come to a decision. My ties to the school are enormously important to me. I enjoy working behind the scenes and changing the law. But you may inform the president that if I were to be nominated and confirmed, I would serve on the court.
You do this, Hart?
Do what?
Stick a ballpoint pen in my cola.
No way.
Jokers. Weirdos. Sometimes I wonder how any of them made law review. Chris.
So do I get to do the bibliography of Kingsfield's work?
Look, now with Kingsfield and all the Supreme Court stuff, every clown here wants to do the bib. What if you blow it? Kingsfield doesn't like mistakes, and neither do I. You might make a mistake. Look, bottom line, how much experience do you have?
I am not going to make a mistake.
You swear? You swear on the corpus juris secundum that you did not stick that pen in my cola?
Yes, I so do solemnly swear.
All right, Hart. Get started on it. And when you got a draft, hand it into Kingsfield's office for his preliminary review. Do it fast. There's obviously a lot of time pressure on this. Hart. Look, Kingsfield has told the Attorney General he'll accept the nomination. He's put himself on the line. He's in the race.
You know these things.
I have my sources.
Now we have to do something for his birthday.
Hart, I've known Kingsfield for 3 years. He would not allow it. It's not his style. Forget it. Get to work on the bibliography.
I know someone who's known Kingsfield a lot longer than that.
Mrs. Nottingham.
Yes?
As perhaps you are aware, next Wednesday is Professor Kingsfield's birthday. I've been wondering if it might not be appropriate to hold some sort of celebration.
Good afternoon. No, I'm sorry. Professor Kingsfield is not available for any interviews. No, he has no comment on any comments. No comment. No comment. Now, what was it?
I thought it might be appropriate to organize some sort of function to honor Professor Kingsfield on his 80th birthday.
Mr. Hart, it would not be appropriate.
But it's his 80th birthday.
And 10 years ago, it was his 70th birthday. And 20 years ago, it was his 60th birthday, and so on and so forth, Mr. Hart. And there were no celebrations because Professor Kingsfield does not like them now. Do you understand?
But this time, isn't it special?
No, Mr. Hart, no. No parties. Now, do I make myself clear? Yes? Oh, yes, Senator. Oh, I'm sorry. Professor Kingsfield is not in his office. I'm sure he'll be delighted to know you're doing everything in your power. Yes, I'll tell him. Thank you. Good day, Mr. Hart.
Mr. Sims. Justice Kramer's opinion in Holloway versus Lord has been criticized as omitting to deal with the statute of frauds. Was the justice correct or his critics?
Sir, we've read in the newspapers.
I am astounded that you have time to read the newspapers. I suppose I have not been assigning enough work. Miss Lehman, perhaps you would be so kind as to help Mr. Sims answer the question.
Sir, I think that the whole class has something that they'd like to say. We hope you're nominated. We hope you are confirmed.
Sit down. This is a classroom, not a stadium. Do not repeat your moronic attempt to turn it into one. Mr. Sims, we were discussing the issue of the statute of frauds and whether it was applied correctly by Justice Kramer. Was it?
Sir, this was an Oklahoma case, and that state has enacted a slightly different version of the statute of frauds, one which differs.
Hell, it's only 3 o'clock in the morning. When I worked here, you weren't allowed to punch out till the sun came up. You getting soft?
Can I help you, sir?
Looks like you're the one who needs the help. What are you working on?
No, there's a bibliography on Kingsfield.
No, they keep you going for a few years. He has probably published more important articles, books, and briefs than anyone else in the history of the country. And that includes everybody. From John Jay to Brandeis. When's it due?
I turn in a preliminary report tomorrow.
Good luck. You're not only dealing with Kingsfield, you're dealing with his own work. I hope you've done a decent job. Well, you must have. Because obviously you're aware that your neck is on the line.
Do you want something, sir? I mean, from the law review?
What's your name?
Hart. James Hart.
James Hart. This is a picture of the 1956 Law Review, and this young man looking like a jerk. The one with the idiot smile is me. This is where I learned a lot of my law, Hart, and the place means something to me. I like to see how it's being kept up. And I see that you guys are about as big a bunch of slobs as we were 20 years ago. What is new on the review, Hart? Besides your bibliography of Kingsfield.
Well, I guess everyone is speculating on whether or not the president is going to appoint Professor Kingsfield to the Supreme Court.
Keep your mouth shut on this, but there's a good chance. I sure as hell intend to push for it.
Maybe his age is against him.
Hart. I hope those morons back in D.C. have enough sense to realize that 4 or 5 years of Kingsfield in the High Court is worth another guy's 50 years.
Sir.
We're both members of the Law Review, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
And presumably you've got the brains to know the name of the Attorney General of the United States, so use it. Don't call me sir.
Mr. Patterson. Professor Kingsfield's 80th birthday is Wednesday. And some of us thought it might be nice to hold some sort of celebration in his honor, especially now that he's being considered for the Supreme Court.
We tried to give Kingsfield a birthday party. We tried twice. I spoke to him myself. Screwed up the guts. I was his research assistant at the time. He almost blew me out of his office. Good luck. Charles Kingsfield is all work and no play.
I just think the school should do something.
The school is going to do nothing, Hart. Hart, who do you think runs this eminent institution, this great law school? The dean? Charles W. Kingsfield runs the school.
Sir, the car's waiting.
Good. I'm going to get some sleep. Well, Hart, good luck in the bibliography of Kingsfield. I hope he's satisfied, if he's ever satisfied. And on your other plans, sometimes you just go with what you feel in your guts. It's what you learn from politics.
Robert got the ball. He's moving down the court. He's open. He takes it in. Go! What a shot! What a shot right there, ball. Go ahead. Go ahead. Come out. Play some top D. He goes up. He misses it. He's still out of the 3, 2, 1. Oh, what a shot! All right, here we go. Take it out. Play some top here. He'll never make it through law school.
Come on.
Keep moving it down. All right, no.
Oh, sometimes these dorms drive me out of my mind. How can I study here? You think that's funny?
You can always go back to my house.
No, I think I should give Ford time to miss me. Besides, we don't tend to get too much studying done there. I've got a feeling Kingsfield's gonna call on me tomorrow.
Oh, I turned in my bibliography of Kingsfield's work.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we meet on it tomorrow.
Good.
I knew Kingsfield was brilliant. But until I got this chance to really look at his work, all of it, I never realized what a contribution Kingsfield's made to American law. And over such a long period. Did you know that Roosevelt was going to appoint him Attorney General? You're kidding. Kingsfield was young then, but then Roosevelt made young appointments. I think Justice Douglas was only 41. Mm-hmm. But Kingsfield opposed Roosevelt's Supreme Court packing plan. You know about that?
Vaguely.
The court had ruled against Roosevelt's economic recovery programs, held most of the New Deal to be unconstitutional. So Roosevelt decided to change the court.
You know, you idolize Kingsfield. It's too bad you can't find anybody to go along and celebrate his birthday with you. But what 1L or 2L in the world is going to go along and support an idea that Kingsfield has vetoed?
Chickens.
Yeah! We're all too scared of him. You know, you're going to be meeting with Kingsfield personally. Why not just do this simple human thing and ask him to have dinner with you?
What?
Well, think about it. It's a natural thing to do. Especially since you're working on his bibliography. Take him to dinner. After a couple glasses of wine, you can wish him happy birthday. And then you can let him know that the rest of us hope he gets appointed to the Supreme Court. I think you should do it.
I'll do it.
Really, if he gets on my case tonight, I'm going to let him have it.
Look, he has a weird sense of humor, but he was teasing you. He really likes you. Let's get out of here.
Why?
Let's go to the library.
Oh, but I think we'd better go.
What are they doing?
Well, whatever it is, I don't think they want an audience.
Oh, come on. People pay a lot of money to see stuff like this. Hi, Sandra.
Honey, how are you?
Matter, Hart, you didn't see the tie.
I saw it.
Don't I know you?
Yeah, you look familiar.
Well, I'm Sandra
Pinsky?
Yeah.
How do you do?
that's
I'm
it.
James Hart.
How do you do, James Hart?
Yes, well, now that we all know each other so well, why don't you two
I'm
just...
Ford's been very generous with the brandy. Coffee. Could someone make me some coffee?
I will make you some coffee.
Kingsfield. We have Kingsfield in the morning.
Yes.
No. Do you understand that Wilson case?
Come here.
What about that?
Can we have some coffee here?
Sure, coffee.
But
Fine.
it's nothing really.
What about...
Sorry about last night. Yeah, we really did try to leave, but Sandra invited us in.
Well, what else could she do? You were standing out there spying on us.
We weren't spying on you.
Come on, Hart. We had an agreement, a contract. Remember those?
No, I really think you're overreacting.
I am not overreacting. How would you feel if I barged in on you and Connie singing arias in the shower?
Ford, would you like some breakfast? I think you'd feel better if you ate a little something. What would you like?
Cereal.
Good. What kind? Bran or Wheat Smacks?
Bran.
We're all out.
What do you mean we're all out? I just got a whole box last week. Did you eat a whole box? Did Connie?
These are fine.
I hate Wheat Smacks.
You are acting like a maniac.
Well, you'd act like a maniac, too, if you had some dumb roommate who can't even follow simple instructions.
That does it. Getting out of here, I've got a meeting with Kingsfield, and I have got a lot on my mind.
Oh, yeah, you've got a lot on your mind. I suppose there's nothing on mine. I'm just trying to keep order here around this slum apartment. But oh, no cooperation. There's no food. There's nothing. I guess we could send Connie out for a little food, but then she'd probably just bring back Wheat Smacks.
Ford! Your tie froze.
What's happening, Noyes? I told you to work on Senator Smith, for Christ's sakes. He's close to the president. He's on the Judiciary Committee beside. Listen, Noyes, this is no time to rest on our laurels. All the potential nominees are being pushed like Kingsfield. Nothing is locked up. So get your staff on the phones. Recheck the bar associations. Are they writing? Telephoning? Is the depth of the feelings coming across? Oh, hell, in this game, you never know what's going to happen. What's really on the president's mind? There could be a dark horse out in left field. That's why you check your men once, twice, 3 times. What did Kennedy said? Damn, he said you start running and you run until you drop. I want that nomination for Kingsfield. Noyes, what the hell do you mean the guy feels he has to support Tillingham? Just because he comes from the same state? Noyes, that is the oldest con game in the world. Find out what he owes Tillingham. Find out what he owes us. And then put the pressure on him. Make the bastard sweat.
Professor Kingsfield's in his office. He's expecting you.
Thank you. Professor Kingsfield, I wonder if you'd be kind enough to come to dinner.
Come in, Hart. Sit down.
Morning, sir.
I've read the first draft of the bibliography you're preparing on my work. What is a bibliography, Mr. Hart? It's a tool. It is an instrument for scholarly research. Therefore, merely to list the books, articles, briefs that I've published is simply to duplicate material already in the library. True, you have described my publications, but without a central theme and without a core. You have described, but you have not probed with your mind. How has my thinking progressed over the years? Do my views of the concept of restitution remain the same between 1930 and 1980? A bibliography is the chart of a man's thinking, the chart of his mind, not a mere catalogue. I find your work totally unacceptable. Moreover, I am seriously considering our asking the president of the law review to assign another student to the task.
Professor.
However, the law review does have a double purpose. It publishes articles which are of enormous interest to members of the legal community. It also supplies a crucible in which students may learn and refine their skills. In view of this double purpose, and since your skills are in such desperate need of refining, I've decided to let you continue.
Thank you, sir.
But never again give me such slovenly and ill-prepared work. Is that clear?
Yes.
You may go. Mr. Hart, was there something more?
No, nothing more.
Go to work, Mr. Hart.
I just failed him. I mean, no, the whole thing was a flop. Tore into me.
Hart, everybody blows it sometimes. So you blew it. So he let you have it. At least he's giving you a second chance. You're a big boy now. You're going to be a lawyer soon. It's about time you start taking responsibility for yourself. I know, but maybe that's what Kingsfield was trying to teach you. Aside from the fact that you should do a better job next time. You ask him about dinner?
No,
Why not?
I didn't think it was the right time.
Why? Because he criticized you? What does that have to do with dinner? You still could have asked him to dinner.
I couldn't. I froze.
You know something, Hart? I think there's still a little bit of the one L left in you. I do. Being scared, freezing, not being able to answer when Kingsfield calls on you. Yeah, but you know something?
What?
I like that. I do. I do. It proves that law school hasn't turned you into a robot.
It's on the news about Kingsfield.
Let's go see it. Come on.
Good evening. This is Susan Friedman.
What's going on?
The
It's
White
now
House
just a
made an
matter of
announcement
moments
about
until we find out
Reynolds'
who will be
replacement
new
on the Supreme Court.
Court Justice. Rumors have been circulating in Washington all week, but our sources inform us that the president has reached a decision on the person he'll name to the Supreme Court to succeed Justice Reynolds, the justice who last week said he'd be stepping down from that court. That announcement can be expected at any moment. Frankly, we don't understand why the announcement hasn't already been made, but apparently there have been some last-minute discussions between the Attorney General and the President's advisors.
Come on, Kingsfield.
I really hope he gets it.
Why, so he won't be around to flunk you?
He deserves it. There's no one better. Professor,
I said I didn't want to be disturbed.
the Attorney General is on the telephone. I thought you might make an exception.
All right, Nottingham. Yes, Bill.
We can only guess at what's holding up this announcement, and our guess is that it is a result of informing the nominee and all others who've been under consideration. The last time one can recall such controversy and suspense surrounding an appointment to the Supreme Court is that of John Marshall, the justice appointed by President John Adams in 1801. Of course, it was Marshall's tenure on the Supreme Court that began one of the most epic periods in Supreme Court history.
I'd miss the old bastard. I hate to admit it, but I'd miss him.
served on that
School wouldn't be the same without him.
Kingsfield. 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 Kingsfield.
Okay, quiet. Word has come in. It's official. The president has nominated George David, his personal counsel to the Supreme Court. This comes as a very big surprise. Mr. David was not even mentioned as one of the possibilities, but it proves another of those truths about Washington. First, that the unexpected nearly always happens, and perhaps most importantly, those closest to the president are always in the running. Mr. David has been the president's personal counsel for over 40 years, a resident of Chicago and a member of the prestigious law firm of Taylor, Greenbaum, and David. On Wall Street today, stocks began moving higher from the outset and gained 21 points, helped by the strongest bond market rally in 2 months.
What a bitch.
Were encouraged by
Can't they ever do anything right in Washington?
The spokesman for the
I wonder how Kingsfield feels. If he feels.
Feels. Don't worry about it.
Sir, I'm sorry.
Nottingham. Thank you.
May I ask what you are doing at 4 in the morning?
Thought we weren't talking.
Just a point of information.
I'm making a cake.
Oh, I see. You had a sudden impulse. You just had to have cake at 4 in the morning.
What is tomorrow? Tomorrow is Wednesday, Kingsfield's birthday. I'm going to make him a damned cake. And I'm going to take it into his classroom, and I'm going to sing Happy Birthday.
And probably get a cake thrown back in your face.
Probably, but I feel like doing it. And the Attorney General of these United States said to me, sometimes you've got to do what your gut tells you to do.
Well, that's a very valuable piece of advice. However, neither you nor I dare say the Attorney General, has the faintest idea how to make a cake.
You want to learn?
Not particularly. But I wanted the old bastard to get on the court just as much as anybody. You know, he's probably going to kill us for this.
Beat 6 eggs.
6.
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning, Nottingham.
Professor, happy birthday.
The question, Mr. Sims, is whether Lord Mansfield intended to adopt the doctrine of moral consideration.
Sir, are you referring to Hawks versus Saunders, that English case from, I think, 1782?
Of course, I'm referring to Hawks versus Saunders. Mr. Sims, we don't have all day. We have other cases to discuss, other issues to probe. Time, as usual, runs on, and I wish to finish this issue now.
Hey, Val!
Val, we're taking this to Kingsfield.
Come on, come on. You gotta come with us, Val. Val! Come with us. I'm not. Hey, Ford, it's a $6 time.
Miss Lehman, how do you interpret Lord Mansfield's opinion? Miss Lehman, in this classroom, one faces the front, one's ears are pointed in this direction, one's brains, to the extent that they exist, are concentrated totally upon the discussion at hand. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Come on. I'm going to take this cake over to King. Come on.
I'm waiting, Miss Lehman.
Okay. I don't know about this. Okay. What's now?
I'm afraid I missed the question. I'm sorry.
Being sorry is not good enough, Miss Lehman. One does not explain mistakes to one's clients by saying, so sorry. We're discussing moral consideration, Lord Mansfield, the case of...
I know this is out of the ordinary, Professor Kingsfield. I realize you don't like your class to be disturbed. But we all know that this is your 80th birthday. And you can tell me to take this cake right out that door, and I'll do it. But first, I'd just like to say something. You've taught thousands of students. And every one of them has been frightened by you. Their minds twisted and tortured, and finally trained. Lawyers all over the country, all the way up to the Attorney General, have been molded by you. You've been their greatest influence. It is significant that this is your 80th birthday. Perhaps you do not want to mark the occasion, but we must. We need the opportunity to tell you we are grateful for the honor of being your students and learning from you. You mean a lot to us. Happy birthday.
Mr. Hart, you have introduced a fire hazard into my classroom. Despite this unfortunate interruption, 5 minutes of class time remain. Miss Lehman, please continue. Lord Mansfield's opinion.
In Hawks versus Saunders, Lord Mansfield said, and I quote, that the honesty and the rectitude of the situation is the consideration.
Mr. Hart, not only have you deposited a fire hazard in my classroom, you've also deposited a health hazard. Obviously, we're going to have to get rid of this huge cake. Otherwise, it will attract vermin. You may stay, and you may help us all dispose of it after class. Ms. Lehman, continue.
I believe that Hawks versus Saunders is a ratification of the principle of moral consideration. The words speak for themselves. The problem is that later decisions written by other judges seem to back away from the concept that Lord Mansfield was trying to establish. Perhaps they were scared that taking the decision too far would lead inevitably to a flood of lawsuits based on moral promises. And in most situations, the problem of what is moral is a difficult one to resolve.